Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah, I'll stay out all night. But sure, I've had some better times. And I can't count all the tears I can write. And maybe down my last time. Yeah, but the blues took me just fine.
Again, everybody sit down. Everybody just relax. If you came here looking for the podcast, the one where my wife is in the podcast and she beats me up for an hour, this is not one of those. No. This is, we're broadcasting from KGXT Studios, 200 feet below occupied California. And this is an interview. Yeah. If you don't like the interviews, guess what? Don't email me. Don't complain. Hit the skip button, okay? If you don't like something, move on. Nobody wants to hear from you. But there's so many of you that have been loving the interviews that we're not stopping. We keep every week, we try to get somebody new in here. And this one is going to be a fun one, I can already tell you. Not often do we get somebody who's interesting and the product is something I'm falling in love with. And I have stories on stuff that I've been doing. We'll get to those in a minute, but I want you guys to sit back and relax, put the cat out, let the dog in, pull the drapes and sit down. And why is the cat going out? Because they don't like my interviews. The dogs seem to. So bring your dog in, put your cat out, sit down, grab your drink, and relax. This is the Gen X Talks interview series. All right. This is number like 25 or something. So see, we're moving down the road. And today we have the owners of Bad Dog Tools. And I got to tell you, this is Ann and Joe Strong. So welcome to the program. Thank you guys for joining. I really, really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
I got to tell you, when Jacob called me, and so it's our mutual acquaintance, I had no idea that Bad Dog Tools even existed. I was like, well, I've never heard of them. And then I found out that you guys mainly did trade shows, and I haven't been in trade shows in a long time. And then I started, of course, in doing a little homework and looked at some of your videos. And then you guys sent me some stuff, just a samples to try. Oh my God, how does everyone not know you guys exist? How is this not? I mean, I worked in the automotive field for 35 years, and there are so many applications for your tools in automotive, and I can't even count the other industry, can't even touch the other industries. Too many to mention, I'm sure. But I would have absolutely bought, like, your drills. Let's just say your drill bits. I would have bought those over the Snap-on bits that I've been buying for years off the tool truck any day of the week and twice on Sundays. So we got to back up and see how all this got started. And then somewhere along this interview, you got to tell me, what's holding you back? How does the whole world not know about your stuff? So let's go back to the beginning. And where'd you even guys come up with the idea for Bad Dog Tools?
Well, we actually started out as Handy Desk. We created a flexible abrasive wheel, 7-inch flexible abrasive wheel. And again, we started at the shows. Yep. We were just youngins. This was back in the early 80s. We went, it was fun. We took a year, traveled around the country, went to all sorts of different shows.
I kind of disappointed my father. He was a really good machinist. A lot of the ideas we have were ideas that he had that he loved doing a machine, but he wouldn't sell anything. He just wanted to be in his machine shop, making parts and taking something like that abrasive disc and selling it was not what he wanted to do. And it was something I could do.
Well, I'm guessing you did it with his blessing to some degree. I mean, he didn't absolutely tell you no. So, that's, yeah. So that was your first.
If you're in a machine shop and you scrap a couple of parts and all of a sudden you're not as popular in a machine shop as you were before, if you know what I'm saying. If you had a little tolerances off by a little bit, it's better for that person to be a salesperson than it is for him to be a machinist.
Joseph is not a measure twice, cut once kind of guy.
Okay, my good God, is that not something my grandfather used to beat into me all the time? Measure twice and cut once. I used to joke when I was a kid because I'd mess things up. I'd say, Grandpa, look, I cut it 3 times and it's still too short. I don't know how to fix that. So the trade shows, I could see where that'd be a great way to get going, but that doesn't always translate into, millions of people knowing what you have. So I get you get to start there, and word of mouth can spread. I get that, but you'd almost have to be at that time in the 80s on a tool truck or in a store. People would need to see that because not everybody goes to trade shows. So I mean, that had to have been a rough start, just trying to driving and going. And I mean, you literally were the
Well,
American story.
we were young and we didn't know, rich, poor. We were happy when we had enough food to, enough
Sure.
money to
Saving money, build
yeah,
another piece of equipment for the shop.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember when we got our first forklift, and
It was
it's
a
big, all milestones that you go through.
pre-World War II forklift was our first forklift. Yep.
That's funny because what you just said was you measured your success by, do we have enough gas and food to get to the next trade show, is what it sounded like. That's great. That's awesome. What was your second tool you came up with? Once you got going on one, what was the second one?
It was the bits because everybody's like, well, you can cook things. The handy disc is great for cutting things. Why don't you come up with something for drilling? That's what most people do. You cut sand and grind, drill.
Something you take for granted if you're in a machine shop. If you have to drill off something that's hardened, a broken off tap, every machinist knows how to do it, but the general public doesn't know how to do it. And we took that knowledge my father gave me and put it in a drill bit that you can take and anyone can use.
That was a tough one for me when you'd break off a tap or you'd break off a hardened steel bit or something in a block in a cylinder head. You just wanted to go home. You wanted to go home. You were done because nothing was harder than that. I mean, you kind of taken the hardest thing you could buy off the tool truck and you were done. That I understand that pain because until your guys' stuff came along, there was almost nothing you could do. You just literally wanted to go home. But see, when you said you took your dad's kind of his information or his skill or his ideas, but how do you construct a drill bit to do what you're, and I'm not trying to get into your trade secrets, of course, but how do you develop a bit that you just keep refining it till it does what you want? That's got to be
you just keep making it better. When new tech like carbide in the last 20 years has gone from some sub-micron grain, nanomicron grain, and it gets smaller, it gets tougher, it gets better. And the shank of the bit when we started was chrome vanadium, and now it's armor. If something new comes along and makes it better, you just have to make it go into your product. You don't.
Yeah, we try to integrate it, and we're always messing around with things like you guys are,
sure.
Whether it's a car or a tractor or whatever. And we say, well, that didn't do that quite well. What can we do to the bit to make it better?
Sure. All right. You piqued my interest on something. I don't mean to put the brakes in the product. We'll get back to that, but you got me sidetracked in my head a little bit. So you just said you were young and traveling and on the road. Tell me your story. How far back does this story go with the two of you? When did you guys first get together? When did you decide you were going to be a married couple? And, let's go back to before you got in the car and got on the road. How did that start?
So we met at a roller skating rink in Massachusetts.
Yep. Star Wheels.
Xanadu was a bit like it was.
I don't even think there's roller skating rinks around here anymore, but it was everybody can rollerblade and stuff like that now, but it was.
But how old were you guys? Was this like, middle school or high school?
Yeah, just like senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this one of those? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we were sort of in the same friendship circle. Joseph was the star of the rink. He's doing his spins in the middle, and it was just a sort of a natural progression of a friendship.
All right. But then at some point he had to ask you to get married. I mean, I'm assuming there were some dates, but at some point you guys had to get married and then the adventure began.
Well, actually the adventure began and then we got married.
So who was dragging who around the country at that point? Were you following him or was he following you? Who had the get up and go on that?
And always wanted to go to California. A Beach Boys fan, wanted to go to LA and wanted to go surfing in the waves. And I wasn't opposed to it. We built a 1952 Bluebird bus and we drove it out to LA and we figured out when we get out there, it wasn't for us. I know you got the LA hat, but it was
We had fun. We were
in '80s, early not in the '80s. It was a rough town out there. It was a little different than what we were expecting.
Yeah, well, you came out in the 80s. That's where I grew up in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley in the late 70s and all through the 80s. So you traveled through right as I agree with you. It's quite a different place than a Beach Boys album for sure. You know, they
Yeah.
paint quite a different picture than when you're actually there.
Well, I've got my Endless Summer album, and I'm like, wait, not quite.
We enjoyed La Jolla and places like that, but we couldn't afford to stay there.
Yeah,
For a
yeah.
long
Oh,
time.
right.
So,
Yeah, it's
so it's
tough.
yeah,
But when
you learn. We learned that we had to go back and regroup, earn some more money.
it's
Yeah,
like when you
and
get there, you're looking, where's all the woodies and the long surfboards sticking out of the back? I'm here
Yeah.
at the beach. That is not what I'm seeing.
Yep, exactly.
Oh,
It
people
was
have
fun. It
that.
was a fun trip.
Yeah. Okay, so you got on the road, then at some point you get married. You know you got the right idea because you got your two things you got going on. You got the cutoff wheel, and you got the drill bits going. Now, here's one thing that I liked about what I saw about your company with Bad Dog Tools. And this is something I gotta say I hate this about other companies. Being in the automotive industry, let's say someone comes along and you're like, and they say, well, what do you use for WD-40? Do you use W? And you're like, oh no, I got this can of PB Blaster, whatever it is you prefer,
Yeah.
and it's a really good product. And the company that makes it makes 7,000 other products. And they come to you and they say, well, look how good this works. All of our products are that good. No, they're not, because there's no way you can be the best at 700 products or even 200. It's not likely. You get to 1,000 products, your company's not the best at every one. You just took one good thing you did, and now you've made so much garbage out there. And it's just, you can do that with cars too. You may like, a Ford pickup or a Chevy pickup and say, well, if I like GM, then GM must be the best at everything. No, they're not. There's a lot of cars that I don't care for GM, but I love their trucks. And you almost can get that sense with those companies that once they got a home run on something, they just flooded the market on their own coattails trying to get that way. You guys don't have 1,000 products out there. It's almost like everything that I've looked at when I've done my homework with you guys, everything has to be the best it can be before you even put it out there. You don't, everything that I've tested from you guys so far, and then the videos, you guys aren't hiding stuff in the videos. They're real in action stuff. They're filmed so perfectly because as a mechanic, I go, that's not fake steel. That's a frame of a truck. That's a trailer hitch. I mean, you look at those things and there's no way that you guys are faking the soft metal things like so many other products do. I'm very thankful that it appears to me the growth has been, it's got to be right. It's got to be knocked down. So what is your criteria for making a product when you finally say this goes out there? How do you even decide?
Sort of like tangential, like everything sort of oozes from another. And it's really a lot, very much based on what we muck around with, and
And
which is primarily cars and
customers agree with
customers.
this.
Yeah,
Customers like there has to be a need for it. They have to
right.
want it.
I'll show you.
And we've had things that we made a metal cutting blade out of carbide, and it was great blade, but we couldn't get people to not cut like rebar and tempered steel with it. So we discontinued it. It was called the Iron Dog. But we just stopped making it because it was too because people wouldn't you couldn't get people to use it for cold rolled steel, and so we just don't make it anymore. I'd rather have something out there that it was too confusing. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
They were
Yeah.
trying to use it for things that it wasn't made for, and I couldn't figure out how to stop people from using it for things that it really wasn't made for.
That I
So
wouldn't even
people
have
send us
considered that. Yeah, that's a tough one. Go ahead.
people send us things all the time. Can you cut this?
Can you drill that?
Like this is flooring from Bombardier makes the flooring for trains, and that's
Right.
that. This is somebody sent us. I don't know if you see it. It says won't cut, that which we did. That was cut by an HD2, and this is like a piece from a cooling tower from a nuclear
Wow. So they
power
wait, so
plant.
they send you stuff and say,
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with this. Can you make
Can
something
you
that
cut it?
does it?
Yeah.
Can you
Wow.
cut it? Can you drill it? Yep. Yep. This is I forget who this is from, but they're all this was cut with the biter.
Oh yeah.
It's some sort of special alloy. And these were drilled. Do you remember what that was from? I don't. I sort of collect them because they're pretty cool. Oh, and this is from a Tesla. They couldn't drill this.
And you
And
did.
what it is, well, we did kind of. We're sort of working on this. I don't
Right?
know if you can see it. It's double, so it's
Oh
really
yeah.
hard to drill. It's really hard to drill. We're sort of still working on that. And I don't. It's the material. When you take the material apart, we can drill it no problem. But it's because it's sandwiched.
Are there
So
two
we're
different
working on it.
materials there? Or is that the same material
Yeah,
twice?
yeah. It's just two different materials.
Uh
Yep.
hold
But
up
we're
that
working
one.
on it.
You hold up that one that the shiny one, the one that had the little loop, the circle cuts in it from the biter. So that was something somebody had a problem with. And look how clean your edge
Yep.
is. I
Yep.
can't get
Yeah.
I
And you
cannot get
can't
those.
even.
No, I can't
No.
get
No
edges that
secondary
clean.
operations. Yep.
Wow. I cannot get edges that clean on any sort of nibbler or biter that I've got. You always got to go back over it. But when you held it up, my eyes kind of lit up. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I want to see it again because that's my God. You see, the problem is to the untrained eye, and I'm not saying that I'm trained in all of it, but I mean I'm kind of in a field where, there's certain things I know and certain things I don't. But to a person who doesn't know, who can't spot things, it's going to be hard to convince them to give it a try. But man, even if you're just a home garage guy or a home maintenance guy, you're a tinkerer, you feel the difference in your stuff. I don't know. I wish there was a way to tell everybody, to show them, like, you guys got to try one. You got to put it in your hands to try one because there's such a difference. My God, that's
Well,
incredible.
as you, the world has changed a lot since we started out, right? And who would have imagined in 1982 that we would be talking across the computer screen, right?
We did this.
Agreed.
The only way to do that was get to a trade show and show people the.
But now we work with our son as well, and we have a young intern as well, and they're getting us on the internet, and well, we're working on that.
So what, other than going to the trade shows, I mean, did that ever get to a point where it was kind of wearing you out? Where it was just year after year of that, where you're expanding, I'm sure I'm assuming you got past the point of your success wasn't, did we pay for our gas and hotel room? I'm assuming things grew, but did it ever get to a point where you were kind of getting burned out on the constant being on the road and looking for a next step?
I think every trade show is even if when you go, so we go to SEMA every year, right? That's a good example because it's a huge, very
Sure.
busy show. But every time you do SEMA, it's different. There are different booths. There are different people that come to your booth. There are different celebrities that come to your booth.
And if you're a car guy, it's like Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
Right.
true. Or a
Yeah.
girl,
Well,
or a
it's like,
girl.
it's for me. It's like we're back at SEMA again. I wish they were all SEMA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
We do
bet.
a lot of
But we do a lot of fun shows.
yeah,
We
a lot
do,
of ag shows, a lot of farm shows, a lot of
Well, you did
aircraft
the
shows.
I heard you did the ag show here in Visalia not too long ago, and my son has gone to that every year for 6 years. He's big in the ag business. That's one of the things he loves to do. And I don't know if he's ever come across your booth up there, but he's been there every year, and he goes every day and stays as long as he can. It's just, that's part of his thing. And one of my friends for the last 8 or 9 years has delivered all the big gear to SEMA. He has those big trucks. They come in, they're setting up the stages, and they're setting up the stuff. So he's, interacting. I agree with you on those. They're a lot of fun. Those shows are fun, and you meet great people doing it. I guess what I was asking was, maybe not, did you get frustrated driving or it gets mundane? Maybe that wasn't the right thing, because new shows are fun and you get to meet new people. But I guess I'm asking, was there ever a point when you ever thought about changing directions, giving up, trying something new? I mean, was there ever a point when, because it seems like everybody who's really pushing themselves, especially in a family situation where it's not like you have investors and you have, you have people looking over your shoulder, especially in the family business side, there always seems to be a story of, like, I got to stop doing this. I want to have kids, and I can't keep doing this, or this isn't working, where we need to change direction, or we're running out of money, and there always seemed to be something. So I guess I was leaning a little bit more towards it.
This
Was there any frustrations?
might be the reason why we're not as big as we could be. You said that, why doesn't everyone know about you? Because we really don't go out over our skis too much. We try to have a family life and the work life too. So if something has to change or we miss a show, it's not a tragedy. We'd rather we'd rather stay home for some things and go out for others. You pick and choose now the shows you go to, the ones you like the best, the off road show, the SEMA show. So you make it so that you're not there all the time, constant. Because you could be on the road
Yeah.
Oh
365
yeah,
days a year, and we've done it long enough so we know that. And it's fun. And you could right now we're having little troubles because the drill bits got real popular, and we're trying to make enough drill bits to keep up with
But
it.
we're not having little troubles. We're having a little success, is what we're
Yeah,
having.
yeah,
That's
the
a-
trouble.
well,
Sometimes trouble,
It's a
success
little
can be
busier than it usually is.
that's a good
But
problem to
that's-
have. If you,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good problem.
yeah.
But the
But
so
and along the way, we have done other things. Bad Dog has always been a constant, but for a period of time, we owned a wooden bat baseball team, which was a interesting interlude. We actually also ran a series of trade shows called the woodworking shows, which was very interesting. So we have done other things all along the way, and they've always
Yeah.
sort of dovetailed in some fashion. And it's always, it keeps life interesting. And we have one son, and he was born in 1994. He just turned 30. He still thinks he's old, but I don't. He's like,
I
oh my
went
God,
to
I'm so.
I went to visit my son, my oldest. We have 8, 4 boys and 4 girls, and my wife and I have known each other since we were 5 years old. Went to the same private school together, kindergarten through 12th grade. And it wasn't a love story. She hated me in high school. She dated football players, and I was more the leather jacket, fast car guy. So we didn't. Her parents hated me. She didn't like me. It was not a match made in heaven since day one by any means. But we did end up with 4 boys and 4 girls, and the oldest one is 30 and lives in Vegas. 31 now, lives in Vegas. And when I visit him, he complains like an old man. He's got dad problems and his gut's getting big, he says, and he's trying to fix sprinkler pipes and all the things he used to laugh at me about. Now he's going through some of them. I can't smile big enough when he runs into regular problems in life. I love it.
No, it's pretty funny when you think back what you were doing. Like JJ tiled his kitchen the other day, and we kept getting phone calls. Well, how do I do this? What do I do this? And I'm like, yeah, I remember. But it's nice. It's nice to be, called in for the consult.
It is, because I get those calls from my kids once in a while, and more often than not. And they say, "Dad, I need your help." And I go, "Okay, hold on. So now you need me. Now
Yeah.
I have a purpose in your life. Okay, let me just be clear. Now you need me for something, because you didn't need me, 10 years ago. You thought I didn't know any. So now you need me." I make them say it, because I don't know. It's a little bit of a pat on the back that we even got them, that they all didn't die, that they lived all to be, to graduate high school and move out. So I take a little bit of
8
that.
kids. Wow, I bow to you.
Oh, it's yeah. I go around telling everybody what a great father I am. Say, well, if you're a good dad, you can raise 8 children. You just got to get your stuff together. You know how to parent. But the truth is, none of it had to do with me. I was at work all the time. My wife did all of it. She raised them. It was 8 breakfasts, 8 backpacks on their way out to school, 8 lunches. When they came home, it was unload 8 backpacks and pull out the papers from the teachers, get them 8 snacks. Then it was watching 8 kids do chores, then 8 kids do homework. I mean, and when you have that many people, 10 of us, and there was a lot of years my brother lived with us, that's like a small dinner party. I mean, every time you make a meal,
Yeah.
you got to make for 10 or 11, not 2. So it was 100% my wife, not me. I would give her, I take credit publicly, but when we talk behind the scenes, everybody knows I had nothing to do with it. She was super organized and did a great job.
Awesome. Well, you made a good team.
Well, the youngest one is the one you guys see on the videos. That's the ambush
Yeah.
videos where he does that. That's our youngest. So once he's on his way out, then we finally have an empty nest. But even we were talking about, I don't know if I got the story right about, working with you guys, but Jacob had called me and said, well, we kind of missed our shot. They kind of already thought about other stuff they're doing with advertising and working with people. And I said, well, I want to make a video anyway. And so we did one with your name, and I'd have Tool, of course. But I go, just send it to them and see if they like it. They like the idea, because I think I was so desperate that we did one for free. I was like, just give us a shot. I think we could really, there's a big audience here. And I think that the age group and is perfect. I said, just give us a shot. Maybe we can reach a bunch of people. And I don't feel that way about promoting other people very often. This is such a good fit for me. I understand it. And then we got your drill bits, and I told the kid, I said, okay, this is actually what I did with him. I've got some footage of this. But I said, we had some old brake rotors, and I had an old trailer hitch. And I said, here are my best snap-on bits. Yeah. And here's my best, I had a DeWalt bit set. And I said, I want you to use same drill. I said, we had an electric drill, power drill, not a cordless. And I said, try it right here. Try this one. Here's Snap-on. And he drilled through stuff. And then I said, now try DeWalt. And the DeWalt ones had the little pilot bit on it. So that's even kind of cheating when you have a step. That's not even just going at it, with the straight size in there. And then I said, now try Bad Dog. Just do it. And it went through twice as fast with the same metal, the same drill as all of them. And he just looked at me and he goes, why have you never bought these before? I said, I didn't know they were there. I said, I'm never going back. I'm never going to waste money on a $600 drill bit set from Snap-on that works half as good as what you guys have. Why would anyone? Which is why it's so frustrating to like, how did you almost want to run down the street holding these in the air. It's such a difference with you guys. And I don't like, okay, so you told me about the drill bits and how you changed with the times and the carbide. Yeah, is it similar to the other products too? Is it similar to the wheels you put out there?
The HD2, I've experimented a lot with the pattern on the HD2, and the dog bone pattern seems to be that's where I landed. Gives you a lot of coverage, but right. You also need the relief between the pockets of coverage in order for it to work properly.
We've been trying to make that wheel for 30 years.
Yeah.
Really, it's from the get-go. We tried to make this wheel, and the technology wasn't there to make it. Yep. And we've played around with it probably for 20 years trying to get this wheel that we have now. And that's there's not a lot of companies that do that. A lot of people aren't with companies for 20 years. With us, we have 3 or 4 things right now that are going to be coming out shortly that are
sort of riffs on, as we said earlier, natural extension of the tools that we have now. It's just sort of an evolving.
Carbide's a wonderful product. I really don't understand why all drill bits don't have carbide tips in them right now, because high-speed steel, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me being in the business and doing it. But
sure,
a lot of stuff that's in hardware store is all planned obsolescence. They want you back in Home Depot again. And if you break a drill bit, or if it doesn't drill, most people don't have a drill bit sharpener, so they know you're going to go back to Home Depot and get another one, or Lowe's, or wherever it is you get your NHD, wherever you get your stuff. But it's kind of a planned obsolescence thing and we guarantee all our stuff for life. So it's kind of like the exact opposite. If we can get it to last that much longer, we're gonna.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, well, it's almost like other companies want to advertise, we're going to sell you your next drill bit and your next one and your next one. You're saying, we're going to sell you your last drill bit. This is the last one you're ever going to buy. So just, that's a completely different business strategy. But how smart is that? I mean, you would apply, if you could, you'd apply that to anything you bought, that it was the last one you're ever going to have to buy, and you don't have to worry about that again. Now, something you just said right there, a minute ago, you said and correct me if I'm wrong, but as you're developing technology on one, let's say a drill bit, and you have to, it almost sounded like you said, you kind of think as you're getting this along, I wonder if this would work over here, or the technology it kind of branches out. Like you said, it just kind of flows out because you're concentrating so hard here. There has to be light bulbs that come on and go, wait a sec, this could also be good that direction too. So if that's the way you guys are doing stuff, that's you're getting rid of the tunnel vision, and you're focused, but you're not only doing that. It allows you to do other things. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, the carbide. When we improve the carbide in the drill bits, we have carbide in our rover bits as well. We have carbide in our saw blades. Like we just okay, if that improved it that much there, or vice versa, or we put new carbide in the saw blades, can
Right.
we bring it back across the product line?
It's also when you hate doing stuff like we used to use. I'm a car guy, so we had a sheet metal cutter. And the thing I hated the most about the sheet metal cutter was changing the blade in the sheet metal cutter. And if you've ever changed it, once you take the bolt out of the center that holds the blade in place, it's like all of a sudden now you've got a jigsaw puzzle you got to put back together. And
Yep.
when you put it back together, you gotta make all these other adjustments. Like if our blade has got a pad on, you push the blade in, you put the screw in, and it's done. and
And
it's
who
got a
would
new blade on both sides. So it's
and who
like,
would know about that struggle unless you'd been a guy using it? You
yeah,
can't
Yeah.
be
exactly.
some marketing guy for some big company like DeWalt or somebody. You're not going to know that. There's like you can't take or even a team of research and develop. They don't have a hands-on guy. They're never going to know that. They're not going to know to overcome that struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nothing like spending like a couple hours trying to get your sheet metal cutter to work again properly
Yeah.
to make you go, there's got to be a better
There's got to
way.
be a better way to do this. So I want to thank you for something before we go too much further. This Joe, with your notes here, I was able to overcome an obstacle in my marriage, and I owe that to the notes that Jacob wrote. And I don't think I could have got past this without you, buddy. It was some notes in here about a cars that you fix up, a bus you fixed up, and a motorcycle you just bought. And I'm
Uh,
guessing it was a little bit against your wife's wishes, but I clearly went up to my wife and said, "Hey, if he can do it, how come I can't?" And then I just went ahead. And with this piece of paper, it was very helpful.
did you get something bigger than 125 cc's?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did, but that's irrelevant, isn't it? Is there a size limit?
Exactly.
All right. Okay, fair. That's fair.
That's like one of those childhood things. Both, you know, the
To be honest, I didn't know he bought it until after he bought it.
Well,
He said,
isn't it better
he
to
said,
ask for forgiveness?
he said, I'm gonna go pick up my motorcycle. I'm like, you what? Cool.
Well,
See ya.
I had when I say this with affection towards everybody. Anybody younger than me, I call kid. Anybody older than me, I call old man. And it changes with my birthday and my age. But anybody older than me, there's a guy older than me to pass along that wisdom, which everyone's heard before, but said it's better to beg for forgiveness after you've done it than try to ask for permission to do it. You're never going to get past that, but it's much easier to go, look, it's already done. Let's get mad at me. Let me apologize. Let's get over it so we can get on with it. And so see, and it's in paper. I got it in black and white now that you're allowed to do that. I didn't know you were allowed to do that in a marriage, and now I can go buy
well,
stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if I would have come home with a new boat or I think a little Honda motorcycle is. I think
Hey, as long as you're doing it, the size and the price, that's all negotiable later.
I
But
think that has something to do with it.
you're probably right. But believe me, when I read that, I was gonna take it to my full advantage. I was like, yeah, this is in print validation. This can happen, and a marriage will survive, honey. So get mad and now. I just think that's so. What bike did you actually get, and what was the attraction to it? I mean, was it a childhood thing or just something you've always wanted?
I had a Honda 50 when I was a kid, bright yellow with the chrome fenders and a lot of happy childhood riding around in the Eastern Shore of Maryland on that little motorcycle. And when we came back here, you couldn't have it, so we had to get rid of it down there. And when I got back here, I was at the Mecum Auto Auction, and there in Honda they were selling you could still buy the Honda 50s, but Honda had just come out with the Honda Monkey, which is reproduction of the Honda 50, just with a 125 cc engine. So I
Ah,
said, wouldn't that be fun to drive around town to go get stuff and do things? It's just, and it's the exact same bike. It's when you get on it, it's got the same seat, it's just bigger. Everything's bigger.
right.
Because everybody's bigger.
Including the guy who's driving it.
I kind of look like a gorilla driving a mini
He
bike.
does. I have a little Porsche 914, and we'll go to like drive-ins and stuff together. And I look in my my back window, and there's Joseph like just hulking over this bike.
Big smile on my face.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
That's the way I look. I think when I ride a motorcycle, 'cause I'm way overweight, and I'm losing weight, but I'm still way overweight. But I gotta look like an elephant on a tricycle at times to people when I'm riding something down there, and I just do. But see, you driving, you're getting in your Porsche. You probably look like you belong in that. My wife's got a little old BMW convertible 3 Series that she zips. She fits that. It looks right. I don't know what I look right in yet. I'll figure it out. Maybe I need to get a dump truck or something to then proportionately I'll fit. But speaking of those old bikes, yeah, I understand the draw, because a bike that I can't find anymore is those. You remember those Honda trail bikes, those Trailway 90s? They
Yeah.
looked ugly, but man, were they geared so low they could ride you up a wall. They were, and you
Yep.
can't find them anymore. And the other one my friend had, we ride around the valley when we were kids in the early '80s, was a Bull Taco. I talked to people that don't even know the brand Bull Taco, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
maybe it was only where I was at, but it was comparable to the Honda 50s and just a little Bull Taco thing. But I would be the same way. I'd geek out over something like that if I could find something that was, a replica of something in my childhood. I'm with you on that. I get it. I do.
It's just a blast. It is. It took me 3 years to work up the courage to buy it, though. I gotta say, I was not like. I
Really?
looked at it. I was like, oh, and I looked at it again. I was like, and every time I saw it, I was like, how come I don't have one of those? Finally, I was like, something. Life's too short. You gotta have
At
fun.
some point you do got to pull the trigger. Like you said, you take the company that you're doing all these things with, you got to spend an enormous amount of time not just promoting it and selling it and getting it out there, but the development has got to take all the other time too. But if you can take those moments where you're doing something for yourself and you're living, you have, like you said, you've missed events before because you had a son, you had family stuff going on, and you do things for yourselves and for each other. That is a I will tell you, I've done some interviews with owners that they're very frustrated because they've poured everything into the company and maybe the company's successful, but they sacrifice quite a bit of their family life. And you listen to let's say you had the parents on with the son who's active in the company too, and he makes little comments during the interview where he's like, well, you guys were never around, so how would you know? And I'm hearing that as a dad, and I don't say anything, of course, but you can tell they've sacrificed some of that. So believe me,
Mm.
it is an obvious blessing to hear you guys talk openly about there is a balance. And like Joe said, we might be further along with the company had we, but we stopped. We put things on pause. I like that a ton. I think that's a great testimony to everybody who's out there starting up something, to tell them this is what it looks like when you have balance. I dig that a lot. I really do.
Yeah.
Can,
It's
can-
important.
yeah. Can you tell me anything coming up? Can you tell me like what you got coming down what tools you're working on, or is that a trade secret?
Well, we're coming out with a couple of new variations on the HD2 that are in response to what people are using them for. And also what the power tool manufacturers are making. So 5-inch grinders, angle grinders are big, big, big now. So we're coming out with a 5-inch flange. We've got the 5-inch flat HD2, but we're coming out with a flange in the next 30 days. Pre-order soon on the website. That'll be up in about a week. And world premiere announcement. We're coming out with a 9-inch HD2 as well,
Wow.
which for a long
Battery.
time.
Better, but everyone wants us to make a 14-inch HD2, but I just can't. I just don't see the.
It's too well. So you got to balance people using the tools with the safety of the tools. People do. I'll call it silly. People do
And
silly
you
things.
you get the most of the first tool to make money. It's gotta work, and it's gotta get all
Well,
you
yeah,
can get out of it.
and
Sometimes people take things past
right.
what they should in order
Oh
to.
yeah.
And,
do
and
that.
we weigh that when we're
Yeah.
coming up with tools too, because we don't want to see anybody get hurt by trying to.
Well, I was going to say
weighting.
you make something that diameter gets that big. I'd be afraid of it being misused and coming apart. Those are some high speeds to be, I mean,
Yeah.
that's, and with that kind of flex on there, I mean, I can't imagine what it is, but it's got to be quite a bit when you start turning things at that speed and then using it, it's got to bend quite a bit. Someone could get hurt if they're not paying attention. You get
Right.
some
The
Yahoo
deflection
out
on a
there.
wheel. Yeah. you also have to look at what are the possibilities. You're designing a tool for a specific to attach to a specific piece of equipment. And you wait and you say, okay, I got this. But then you really do have to turn the other way and look at all the other pieces of equipment that you could potentially put that tool on. And if
Oh,
somebody does that, what's going to happen? You
wow.
know?
I
So
don't think I would have ever thought of that, but oh my God, that boy, you really got to put some time into that to thought
yeah.
because yeah, that's who knows what they could do with it. Somebody gets inventive and uses it where it's not supposed to be. They can come back and blame you, and you're like, who told you to do that? Who told you? You know
Right.
why? That's a I would have never considered that. Lot to think about in that aspect. But the is there? Have you ever considered? We talked a little bit about those DeWalt bits that have the step bit, the pilot bit built into them. You guys ever considered doing that? I mean, that's not the ones I received, but I just wondered.
Yeah, we just put a new drill bit sharpening machine, an automated drill bit sharpening machine online that has the capability of making that point. And that's going to be like a quarter 1, hopefully debut with something, a new style of point
Well, I think
for
that
the drill bit.
I can't
I
imagine
know,
your
so
stuff's
don't
getting
tell
any better.
anybody. Don't tell anybody if you're watching this.
I can't
Can you
imagine your
imagine?
stuff getting better, but by God.
Oh, there's some really cool things coming that it's going to make drilling way more fun and way easier. And right now our bit isn't the best sheet metal bit in the world, and the big problem we're trying to conquer is that whole sheet metal thing. We're going to make a something on a carbide that'll drill sheet metal like butter.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's what I've been. The problem I've had, and people told me, is they want something that'll drill sheet metal with no burr, with no pressure, with so that's what we're working on. That's going to be the next.
Has there
We
ever
wouldn't
been
make another drill bit to drill everything, but we'll make a drill bit to do sheet metal.
Specific
sure.
operations now.
Has there ever been a consideration of trying to get into a chain of stores of any kind? I mean, I know Sears is gone now, but has there ever been a consideration to put your stuff on a shelf in a brick and mortar situation?
We were in
Sears
Sears
for
on
Christmas.
on a seasonal basis, and that worked out really well, and regionally. And we were also in it's a little regional hardware store called Abisham. And they meant well. They had a good idea. We had the TVs with the loop doing the video
Sure.
demo. It just doesn't work. People say, "Oh, that's
When you go to a hardware store, you go, I need a high speed. I'm going to drill sheet metal on a sheet metal bit. People don't go, I want a multi-purpose bit. They go,
yeah."
I've got to drill concrete. I'm going to get a masonry bit. I'm going to drill glass. I'm going to get a glass tile bit. I'm going to drill.
That's true. That's exactly
And when they
right.
go there, then there's no multi-purpose drill bit aisle. there's no.
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 It's like
You're right. That's
Yeah,
everything's specific.
and
each show.
it's very compartmentalized as well. We had another product that Joseph's dad came up with. It was it was an hourglass shaped jewelry cleaner, like totally away from tools as you can imagine.
Hmm.
And we had that in Bed Bath and Beyond and Walgreens and Dwayne Reed and all these other, and that was a working party to the putting this thing on pallet. Your pallet has to be 22.57 inches by, and if it wasn't, they would charge you 10%. I would, and that sort of taught us that we don't want to be in.
Most people don't know, but if your stuff is stolen out of a store, it's just shrinkage. They don't pay you for it. It's
Mhm.
just gone. You bite the bullet on that. They tell you what they sold, and they pay you for what they sold. They don't pay you for what you ship them. It's a weird thing to have
That's almost like
go
they're
on there.
telling you you're putting your stuff on consignment. That doesn't sound right. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
they know they're gonna have the X Y. We learned.
Yeah, we learned. It was fun. It was interesting, but it was something that we didn't want to pursue
It
for
was
again.
yeah. Home Depot's
So,
got 10 rules that they go by. Ship all your products all the time, every time. Ship all your products on time, every time. And that's their 10 rules. But if you go into Home Depot and it's real popular, you're gonna find out that Home Depot's gonna have their product that's gonna be like your next to your
yeah,
product
no
in a
kidding.
short period of time. It's the world. I guess it's a dog eat dog world up there.
I
They think
guess. But
Yeah,
so
and there's something to be said for sort of flying under the wire. You said earlier, why doesn't everybody know about us? Well, that's a good and bad thing, you know?
well, I didn't
I
think
don't. I
about the
can't make 10
copycat
million
stuff
bits.
until you just said
Yeah,
that. You know, and
yeah,
well, you're right, Joe. You can't make, you couldn't make 10 million. What if it became, popular for a year or two in every Lowe's across America or every home? Yeah, you think you have production problems now. you'd,
Exactly.
you'd really have it then, but I never even considered the copycat factor. That would drive me nuts because yeah, you could do really well for
it
1 year
does.
while Home Depot is developed. They're looking at your stuff. They're going to make ones just like it, but cheaper because they've got the money to do it. And then where are you? Then you're done.
Yeah.
Your specialty item that you're known for, you're out. You got now the competition. I get that. Boy, I didn't even think of that. This is why you don't have a guy like me running your company because you just listed 13 things I would have never thought of. We would have all been out of business had you put a guy like me in charge because you guys have learned so much of these ins and outs that I'm going, holy crap, it wouldn't even cross my mind. God, there's just so much to it that you don't realize until you're in it like you guys are.
We care more about it too. I mean, there's a certain amount. If it goes into a store at Home Depot, you kind of like it's in Spokane, Washington. It's in Texas. It's with us. If you call us up on the phone, you get a live person. You get to talk to somebody who's probably drilled the hole. That kind of small New England tool company thing is gone. It doesn't really exist out there anymore. It's
Mhm.
not, and
It's
it's.
gone
I don't want to see
everywhere.
it disappear. Yeah.
No, it's gone. That's it. How many times do you wish you could call somebody for some help on something and not be put through the automated system? And then you're talking to someone in
Oh,
Bangladesh. You're like, oh my God,
Exactly.
I just had a question about is there anybody who can open a package and look at one of these with me? You're never gonna get that. That down home country feel that you've got, that's got to be huge when it comes to people's feelings on customer service. Absolutely. Do
yeah,
you
I love talking. People call all the time and we love talking to them.
Do you guys go to the trade shows still yourself, or do you ever have any, like, does your son or anybody else ever go represent Bad Dog, or is it always just you guys?
Oh, no, no, no. We have two other salespeople, and my nephew is also does an occasional show. Um, and Joseph's sister does an occasional show. Joseph does an occasional show.
I do
Um,
a lot more occasional show. There's shows I like going to. There's
Joseph keeps saying he wants to retire
Well, just buy more
to ride his
motorcycles.
monkey.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go
You
ahead.
gotta like it. You gotta like it. I mean, it's a we I scared it. I've been doing it for 40 years, so I've been out there for a long time, and but everything changes all the time. Like the what it was, the closest we ever came to going out of business was COVID,
Oh yeah,
because
the
we do
pandemic.
we always thought, oh, we do tractor shows, we do air shows, we do car shows, we do home
Yeah.
shows, we do builder shows, we do security lock shows. That we're in all these industries that if something goes wrong somewhere, that we can move to another industry.
Right.
But who would
Yeah.
have thought?
Who would have
You
thought they
just
would?
shut everything down. That's and thank God we had a bit of a we had a website obviously, but
Right.
thank God we had a young person in house
Yeah, Mark.
that
Yeah.
be like,
Shift you a
okay,
little
here
bit
we
over
go.
to an online presence when you needed it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Boy,
yeah.
that would have been something. Well, just listening to you guys, and I'm presuming a lot here, but when you listen to how you guys got started, listen to the dedication with driving around all those years, you like you said, you started doing it, then you get married, you still have time to balance out the kids, you still answer the phones, and someone's a human's talking to it. And we just mentioned how that's not done anymore. That's old school. That's greatest generation stuff. My grandfather was in World War II, and the ethics that he came home with, the values that he from just that time and what he lived through. I don't know. It's lost now. There's so much of it that's missing, but
It
everything you
really is.
described describes my grandfather's generation and his mentality and how he thought. And he had a great hand in raising me, and it feels very much like what you guys are presenting right now. All of it.
We had, yeah, I mean, we Joseph's dad was the tail end of World War II. He was in the submarine service. He was a very cool, tough dude, very fair, very compassionate in his own way, and very helpful. He helped a lot of people throughout his life. and he was a great role model. And my dad as well, a little bit younger than Joseph's dad, but they both served. They were in the service,
No
and
doubts, you did the right
learned
thing
that. Yeah,
because it was the right thing to do.
yep.
You didn't like it's kind of a you did the right thing because it was the right thing to do. There was no you didn't talk about it. You just did it,
You
and
just did it. Yeah, not for the glory, but for the grace.
Well, and there, what you just said, do the right. I'll add one to that. That was the way my grandfather operated. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and you do the right thing even when no one's watching, and you could get away with doing the wrong thing. You did the right thing anyway, even when no one was around. You did what you were supposed to do. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with you on those points. That completely puts into perspective what that generation was about, and almost all of them. I mean, of course there weren't some, but man, that greatest generation left that type of impression on the rest of us, and I love hearing what you guys are doing because you're still passing on that type of value, that type of mantra where this is what you're living by. This is what and it's not because you guys wrote it down and you have to remember it every day. This is just who you are. Who does that anymore? Who even thinks that way? There's such a small margin, and then you look back and go, we
Sure.
were better
I
back
think there's a
then.
lot of us. I think there's a lot of us out
Yeah,
there.
I
I think unfortunately, it's the bad apples that are
well,
getting the attention.
it's
No
exactly
kidding.
what you said. Nobody has to know about it. Like we don't know. It's the people who are, they, you know, running to the high hills. Oh, I did this or I did this, but that's not what it's all about. And those are the people that you hear about. You don't hear about that huge group of people that are just
Go to work every
go
day.
to work every day, doing the right thing, bringing up your
Right.
kids right. We might speed on the highway, but other than that,
We
or
we
maybe not on
we
the
might
highway,
speed
but
on the highway. I think you're sliding that in there, like, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's me, but there's a few of us that is one of our flaws. We might, I like how your
oh
husband
yeah,
glanced
that's
over at you
me.
when you said that too. He looked like this.
That's me. I have a vintage card group that we drive, and we drive fast, and that's
Well,
my vice.
and if that is your fatal flaw in life, you're doing just fine. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. Well, you guys, God, I think we spent as much time talking. I was being nosy about your personal history as I was anything else, but it's interesting. It really is, especially there's probably so many stories we could find out about when you're on the road. You end up with stories on the road and everything from breakdowns to people that you meet and things that don't go right. We could probably go for another hour. I would very much like to go, if you would, with your permission, maybe let's go another 6 weeks or so, and I'd like to have you back, and I'd like to talk about some of that stuff, the early days of being on the road and the things that you went through at the trade shows and the people you met and just the adventures of being on the road. I think that would be so much fun for everyone to listen to. These interviews are gaining steam. It's one of the fastest growing parts of Gen X Talks because there's so much personal interest in
Yeah.
what people have, how they got to where they are. And I'm glad because it's a lost story, and people are really interested. They don't like all the new stuff out there. They like hearing real Americans doing real things, trying hard, and getting where they're at. If they can't do it themselves, which a lot of them can, they certainly like hearing success stories. And yours is one, if there ever was one. So if you don't mind doing that, I'd like to set that up for 6 or 8 weeks. We could do this again and spend a
Yeah,
little
we'd love
longer and
to.
just go over that. Thank you guys for coming on the program. I can't tell you how I got 900 other things that I want to get to with you guys, but I just got to keep it in a certain context. We're coming up on an hour right now, believe it or not. So I want to do it again,
Wow.
but yeah, did you see how fast it went by? It just
It was a great conversation. Yeah, we'd love to come back, and I'll bring pictures as well. We have some
oh,
some cool vintage pictures
please.
from the
That,
historic
Or
pictures
maybe
from.
some prototypes.
Oh yeah, well, we're talking about the
anything
past.
anything you guys want to share, especially during those times and stuff, I'm all in. I'm 100% invested already, and I'd love to hear more about that. But thank you guys for living the way you did and pushing to where you're at. Thank you for being an American success story. Thank you for keeping your family together. Thank you for showing balance. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about when I talk about this interview. I'm going to say, you guys want to see a married couple that took something, an idea, and pushed really hard, but didn't sacrifice their family. This is the interview. That's going to be one of my lead-ins, because that's my takeaway. And I know this is supposed to be more about Bad Dog Tools. The tools are going to sell themselves, especially when I start showing what I like about them to fans that already like me. They're automatically going to like you guys, because we're going to show them. I'm just going to show. This just sells itself. Watch this. Now go buy one. There's no comparison on that. So I do. Yes, I know Jacob's going to say, you should have talked more about the products. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to apologize and tell him I'm sorry. I got sidetracked with the personal side of it. But Ann and Joe, you guys, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your stuff, and your tools are amazing. I can't wait to go further with that.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
All right, you guys. So there, it told you, look how fast that went by. It's almost an hour's gone by right now. If you had an hour of your day to waste, what better place to waste it than with Gen X Talks in an interview? Yeah, it just goes by like that. You're probably late for stuff. You're missing things you're supposed to do, but you guys came in. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Wherever you're listening in from, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps on the Armed Service Radio Network, we appreciate you guys taking time to tune in. Remember two things. One, wherever you go, there you are. And two, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Life is